show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains that last.
Hey guys, Coach Dan here. We are finishing off Fat Loss Phase Week 5. So this is the last workout of the week, a back workout or a pull workout. So far it's been the term that first springs to mind is lackluster, but that's just as far as enthusiasm goes. So at this stage of this fat loss phase, I'm getting up early prior to having to start work, getting steps in. You know, we're hitting calories every single day at about 2,200. We're getting in our resistance training 6 days a week. So she's a bit tough. This week has been tough on the overall scale of things, but last week was pretty pleasant. So, you know, sometimes you got to ride the roller coaster, and we have to know that we have an outcome or goal that we're working towards, and doing all of this, it's getting towards that goal. So weight is going in the right direction. So I started off this phase at 88, and now I think I weighed in this morning 82.6. So we are going in the right direction. So when you first start a fat loss phase, usually there can be a big chunk that comes off immediately. That might be water or extra food in you. So you might lose a couple kgs pretty quickly, which was the same in my case. And then it kind of settles down into what your actual rate of weight loss is. Sometimes as we go on, you adapt and your body sort of potentially down-regulates metabolism a little bit, and therefore you might have to either, you know, add more cardio or steps or something like that, or also potentially reduce food again. And sometimes that can be a step-like manner where you reduce, things plateau out, you reduce, things plateau out, and so forth. So starting next week, I think we'll have 4 weeks to go. So whatever changes we have to make, we will make. But at this stage, we just keep the course, and that's that. Stay in routines, as I always bang on about. Routines and habits that are getting us to where we want to go. Just keep nailing them all the time, and we should be Gucci. Okay, so to the workout for today, this is exactly the same workout as last week with the goal of progression, even though progression is pretty tough at the moment. So we're going machine pullover. So that's going to start off by just firing the lats up a little bit before we move on to some of our compound movements. So we get them a little bit toasty. We call that pre-fatiguing the lats a little bit there. Then we go to single arm plate loaded row or single arm compound row. The actual machine here is called. That is focused on kind of the upper lats because it's a horizontal movement. Then we are hitting just a pretty standard old faithful neutral grip pull up. Liking those, they feel sensational. Plate loaded low row, so that's a movement going from low to high with the goal of kind of hitting the upper back and, you know, even the upper portion of the upper back. Then we've got this quite unique lean forward row. So on the same machine that we did the single arm plate loaded row, we're going lean forward to change the angle that we target our upper back from. I'll go through that in full detail when we get out there. Then we're going to superset with the lateral raise machine. So really good lateral raise machine here. Again, progress is pretty grindy on that one, so we're working really hard. And then machine preacher curl. So essentially between those two, I'll do one, walk to the other machine, do the other, and go back and forth. And we do that as a superset to save a little bit of time, and they don't affect each other too much. That's not a bad way to go about it. And that'll be that. So last workout of the week. Again, yeah, today I feel pretty good. I had a sleep in today, so that's nice. I might need to get a bit more sleep going forward because we're getting up really early in the mornings and stuff like that. But feel good right now. This week's been a grind. Had to work around my hamstring injury from my lower body session, so that's been a bugger. But, you know, them's the breaks sometimes. You've got to keep on keeping on. Nothing to it. All right, let's head to the machine pullover first. All right, machine pullover first. So again, this is kind of our lat isolation movement, with the idea that if we isolate the lats a little bit before some of our compound movements, we'll be able to feel them a little bit more. So we go machine pull over, and then we've got to row, and then we've got to pull up. So hopefully the lats will just be that little bit toasted that when I go to do them, I can feel them really well. And that'll just, you know, the old mind to muscle connection, be able to really try and make sure they're the biggest worker and the limiting factor. So machine pullover, most comparably, not all machines, gyms should I say, have these in my experience. I always get them sitting on here, but it can be really good if you can get one. If you don't get one, essentially you could do a lat prayer. So I do a lying lat prayer on the other day, so you can check that out from my other back day, but also a lat prayer where we set a bar or ropes up at cable height, we lean forward and we drag in, gives us a similar sort of movement. This machine's quite good so far. Up until now, I've really liked it, so we keep doing it. And yeah, give it that little bit of fire in the lats before we go and do our compound movements. So essentially, you'll push the little foot pedal, reach up over. On here, you can take one of two grips in my mind, either like a reverse grip or overhand. I've started going reverse grip in the last couple of months or so. Feels good to me. Let the pedal, big stretch at the back, drive down. So again, if we think about one of the main jobs of the lats is extending the shoulder, which is, if you ignore this part, it's kind of bringing this down like this, and we're kind of isolating that movement. Now, along with this, you'll also get probably the rear delt will be able to contribute to this movement, and the long head of the tricep, both kind of attached to your arm and attached to your scapula, and therefore they can help pull the arm back. We want to be thinking about the lat as much as possible, so we're driving down, trying to squeeze the lat as much as you can. All right, let's get this ball rolling. We'll build up our weight and then we'll hit it. Okay, next up, single arm plate loaded row. So with our lats already pre-fatigued, or at least a little bit of work gone into them, now I come row, and as I do this movement, even though my bicep has to work and we got some more going on, I can still feel the lats really well. And that's the idea behind that. So it might not be an absolute must, but for me, it's been quite helpful to kind of feel the muscles that I'm trying to work, which I haven't always had those kind of sensations in my back. So with the horizontal row variation, which we've got first up, it is more targeted towards the upper lats, because again, if we think horizontally, what that's kind of lined up with, and you think of the lats, they're kind of muscles that will start here, wrap underneath your rib cage, and firstly head in towards your spine or your thoracic spine, and then start to angle down. So when we row this way, that would make sense that pulling the arm in that direction would use the upper lats, and then when we go to pull up and pull downs and things of that nature, that will be the lower lat. So for this one particularly, I'm going single arm. I like single arm sometimes on row movements like this, because you can lean to the side and perfectly line it up if the width of the machine doesn't suit you very well. So I'll simply strap in, wrist wraps again to make sure as this gets harder and harder, there's no limiting factor from the grip. Bring the weight back. I'm over to the side. I've got one foot here to kind of stop being yanked forward. And then we pull nice and close to the body, driving the arm back and around. So another thing that I've incorporated recently is pronating the hand, which is rolling it forward like this, because this grip allows for it, this handle, and then as I pull, coming to a more neutral grip. And that's a minor thing, but that feels pretty good to me. All right, not too much to do it. I think what I'm thinking about doing with some of my pulling movements today is going to a top set. So a heavier weight for lesser reps, drop the weight back down so I can finish it off. The heavier stuff for me, again, is all pretty hard to kind of feel what I'm trying to work. So the drop sets are really, drop sets or down sets, should I say, are helpful kind of feeling and yeah, just taking that muscle to fatigue essentially. All right, let's build up our weight. All right, next up we have the neutral grip, pull up, chin up, whatever you'd like to call it. So if we think about the order of exercises here is for our lats, we've got that pullover, a little bit of pre-fatigue, fire up the lats. Then we've got a horizontal row, which we were aiming more towards the upper lats. Now we're going lower lats or iliac lats. So you think about lats, it's usually arm close to the body. And then if we're thinking lower lats, then we're thinking pull down. So I'll take a neutral grip, but neutral could be fine. A narrow overhand, reverse, narrower than this could be fine. Like with the arms close to the body, if you want to make it as lat dominant as possible is probably ideal. As your arms get away from your body, as we'll see when we go to train our upper back here, it starts to incorporate the upper back. So narrow, this one here is about shoulder width. Yeah, I've had some different angled ones which I like. Overhand, narrow, they're all good. It's just, yeah, you could use your preferred one or you could change them up over time. But if you want to make it as lat dominant as possible, it's probably keeping the arms close to the body. So I'll strap in wrist wraps again for grip, so that's not a limiting factor. Gently step off, full stretch, pull. Full stretch, pull. So again, if we're thinking about lats, you are on this movement pulling yourself up, but the lats job is to pull this part of your arm down. So that's the focus, pulling arms down as if they're going into your back pockets. We're going body weight here. I might consider in the future adding a belt and a weight plate, but for now, body weight, maybe first set about 10 to 15 reps. 2 sets. So you know.
I want to watch your form thing.
All right. Okay, lats done, right? So pull over, horizontal row, arm close to the body, pull down, pull ups, arm close to the body. Lats are all work, so we've got an upper lats kind of movement, a lower lats kind of movement, and now we work into the upper back. And if we think about the upper back, people essentially, not people, they can be categorized pretty, down to potentially 4 different functions of the upper back. I'm not too caught up with that, but what that would say to me then is ensure that we're doing upper back movements that potentially go from different angles. So if we think about the upper backs, to kind of shrug like this, shrug back and up, shrug horizontally, or shoulder blades kind of coming together or squeezing, or essentially if we're protract and then retract the shoulder blades and then even slightly downwardly rotate. So you've got all those different functions of the traps that potentially move the scapulars in all these different directions, and the shoulder capsule, I suppose you'd call it. So therefore we then train the upper back across those different components to a certain degree. Like, do you have to do all in all programs, in all individual workouts? No, but I'm inclined to kind of work them, to a certain degree. If I do a couple of different exercises, maybe do one that goes up like we're going to do here, and then one that goes down like we're going to do later, and then on my other day that's one that comes horizontally, blah 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 blah. So over the course of time, potentially you're working all those functions. That's a long-winded answer saying this is the low row. So this is a plate-loaded low row. It's going to come from low, which you'll see in a second here, angles up, which means it's kind of working the traps, but even like an upper component of the trap. So how it'll work is I'll go over like such, reach over, strap my grips in, sit down with it. So let the shoulders roll forward over the chest pad, squeeze them up and back. So again, I'm not thinking about pulling my arm back like I would with a lat dominant row. I'm thinking about taking the whole shoulder back, squeezing up and back. So it's about my traps. Now, if you don't have a machine like this kind of low row, there are pin loaded variations, but if you don't have it at all, another thing I like to do is a seated row, leaning back, kind of gets that same upward angle. Even if you don't have that, if you're doing it at home or whatever it might be, you take yourself an incline bench, 2 dumbbells over the top of the incline bench, and because you're angled up and the dumbbells are going down against gravity, that gives us a similar kind of movement. Okay, let's add some weight and get it. Alright, we're back on the plate-loaded row from before, but we're going to use it slightly differently. So, if we think about what we did on here earlier, we did a row, arm close to the body, we made that lat dominant. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make it upper back dominant, and particularly the lower part of the upper back. So how we're going to do that is we're going to put these yoga blocks down. It's going to help us lean forward into it, and then we're going to row with our arms away from our body a touch, versus help focus on the lower part of the traps. So the resistance is still coming out in a straight line, but if I orientate myself forward, it means that my scapulars will have to move that little bit differently, right? So I actually left the weight from before here, a little bit of it, so I don't have to load too much up. So we place 1 yoga block. These are just standard yoga blocks. I use these for a fair amount of things. And then we place our feet on like such. I'll strap in as usual. Take the tension of the weight, lean forward, row. So again, with that lean forward, then what's going to happen to my scapulars is they're going to be orientated so they go slightly down. So we're just working a different part of the upper back versus that low row that goes up. All right, we do have a little bit of weight to add, and then we're on. All right, so we finish off this workout with some lateral delt and some bicep work. So this is a lateral raise machine, MedX lateral raise, really nice machine. At least it's been nice up until recently. Again, being in a fat loss phase, progress has slowed quite significantly, but other than that, it's quite good. So this one is different from a lot of the lateral raise machines you see these days, which kind of have these fucking ball kind of thing, and they go directly out to the side. This one kind of angles slightly this way, which is a nice feel to it. And again, so far, so good. A decent range of motion, so my arms come pretty close to my ribs, raising up to the side, control the down, raising up to the side. And we're remembering for the lateral delt, it attaches into the deltoid tuberosity and the acromion, or the side part of your shoulder. So it's kind of doing movements where our arm kind of goes out to the side like that. So we're focused on pushing this part of the arm up and pulling those 2 points together to make it as lateral delty as possible. So we do this as a superset with our bicep curl, which has been a machine preacher curl. So we'll go from here, walk down there, do set on there, and we'll just walk back and forth to kind of complete all of that. And yeah, that'll save us a bit of time so we can go home and have some food and get out of here. The fatigue is real towards the back end of the workouts. In a fat loss phase, you start to get to now and you're like, fuck, I'm knackered. So let's see if we can put some good intensity into both of these. And I'll go down, we'll show you this machine preacher curl now. All right, change of plans. We are going to go elbow supported lying dumbbell curl. So this is a bit of a unique exercise, but I think has a whole ton of merit. So we've been doing the preacher curl. It's kind of getting to the stage where I would use the word stale. So sometimes when you first start an exercise, it starts off feeling fantastic, really effective. And then at certain stages, it kind of feels less effective, or it starts to feel like you're getting pain in joints and stuff like that. At that stage, it's not like that's a bad exercise. It's just like, oh, I'll put that one on the bench. There's some repetitive issues with that movement, and then add a new one in that you know to be effective, or try one and find a new effective exercise. And that's kind of where I'm at. So this one I know to be pretty good, a lying elbow supported dumbbell curl. So essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to shuffle myself off the edge of this bench, almost like in a bridge position, elbows on the bench, and curl. Now this one has a couple of advantages. One of them being that we have stability using the bench. Another one being that we're going to get the bicep into a stretched position. And the third one being that we're going to make it quite hard in that stretched position. So if you think about a standard dumbbell curl, if I was to sit here like this and curl, firstly, my bicep, because it passes the shoulder, isn't stretched fully until I take it behind the level of my body a little bit. Also, when that standard dumbbell curl or barbell curl or whatever it might be, it's not getting hard till it starts to go up against gravity, so kind of in that 90-degree elbow position. With this one, we're going to make it hard at the beginning, we're going to get the bicep into a nice stretched position, and we're going to get stability from the bench, giving us a nice little trifecta to make this nice and effective. The setup is a bit difficult to get into position for, so we've got to shuffle kind of off the edge of the bench, kind of get into this bridge position, let the arm sink down, stretch out the bicep, and then go from there. Now, what that means is getting into position means that probably a heavy weight, as in like doing sets of, 6 to 8 reps, is probably not going to be great news, because you're going to have to be able to wrestle those dumbbells in a position they might throw you around a little bit. So I really keep this in no less than 10 reps, so I'm going to do it at 10 to 15. So when I get into position here, I'm not throwing weights around and it being really awkward. I'm kind of able to kind of get them in a position comfortably, not waste too much energy, and then just crush them. So yeah, maybe heavy would be okay, but yeah, I'm inclined to leave it in a moderate or high rep range, and there's nothing wrong with that as long as we make it really tough and go close to failure. So this becomes a superset. Lateral raise over here, MedX lateral raise. This here is about 10 meters away, 8 meters away, something like that. So I'll do that, we'll head back over there, we'll do our set there, we'll walk over here, do our set here, and we pretty much go back and forth. I might jot my reps or my performance down in between such that I record it, but that allows this to be a certain portion of rest for that, because the lateral delts aren't working on this, and that to be a certain part of rest for this. And that's the beauty of a superset. We save some time, and if we're not, crossing over as far as muscle goes, performance and outcomes can be pretty similar. All right, let's get back over there. All right, that's a wrap on the workout, guys. Oof. These are becoming pretty tough efforts, they are. So, yeah, every set is a struggle to get like a rep extra, do you know what I mean? So we're kind of at the stage where it's like, yeah, progress is tough, and then energy's low, and then you get towards the end of the workout and that feels brutal. But again, the goal is keeping as much of this hard-earned muscle as possible, so when we get leaner, we can show that off. So we know we've got a why, we just got to keep pushing towards it, keep doing the routines, don't question the program, you just got to stick at it, because you know the outcome is there waiting for us in, 4-ish weeks time, so it's not indefinite. We're not going to be performing shitty forever. It's just for a brief duration to get a bit leaner, and then we can restart the muscle gain phase. So short-term gain, long-term pain, as they say. No, that's not right. Short-term pain, long-term gain. All right, I'm delirious. Let's get out of here. As always, if you're liking the content, please hit the little subscribe up here. If you want to check out another video, click this one. I've got some shorts going as well, so smash those. And as always, it's about progress over perfection. Coach Dan, signing off.